Hey, 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 welcome back to the podcast. Really glad to have you here. What you're about to experience today is a conversation where Brandon and I were interviewed by someone very special in our lives named Perry Marshall. And you're going to hear part one of that conversation today, about 13 minutes of it. And then we've got a part two for you next week. Today's part one really captures our entrepreneurial journey in kind of a raw, honest way. So if you've ever wondered how we went from bootstrapping a coffee shop in Chicago to discovering the principles of liquidity, bank on yourself, profit first, all the things, and then which led us to become financial professionals with a mission to empower business owners, this episode's for you. We share all the details there, what we were naive about, what we learned along the way. So in this, that's what this kind of first half of the interview is going to be about. You're going to hear the story, the good, the bad, and the ramen, and some of the surprising turning points that led us to an entirely new path. So settle in, grab that beverage of choice, hopefully something locally roasted from a neighborhood, mom and pop coffee shop in your area, and enjoy part one of the conversation. I'll come back at the end and give you a little sneak peek into part two. I hope that you get some inspiration for your own journey, wherever you're at in the middle of it, and some wisdom hidden, maybe even in your own past experiences. So let's dive in.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see all of you all. And you're in for a treat today. I met Amanda and Brandon. It has to be more than 10 years ago. They'll tell you more of the story, but we met on the roof of a pub. One of their friends recommended that they should talk to me, and they were about to start a coffee shop. And so I've been paying attention to them, and they've been following me ever since. And they joined Roundtable Accelerator a few months ago, and there's a lot of really cool stuff to talk about. So hello, everybody who's showing up for today. I know you could be doing a lot of other things, but this is the most interesting thing that you could be doing, because you're going to get a glimpse into worlds that you otherwise don't normally get to see much of. So really glad that you're here. And Amanda and Brandon, why don't you tell everybody where you live in like a 15-second what you do, and then we'll jump back and tell more of your story.
Let's Amanda do it, because I can't make a Sora video in 15 seconds like that, but she can. Go for it. 15 seconds. Go.
Yeah, we're currently located in Cincinnati, Ohio, a great town. If you've never been here, invite you to join us. Let us know if you ever stop by. And what's fun is I've learned to let people know, rather than me tell you what we do, I would invite you to experience it. So as we go today, you're going to experience some of what we do. And if you like it, you'll find there's ways to experience more.
So how did you guys get into entrepreneurship in the first place? Why weren't you happy just having a regular job and punching the clock?
Oh, I can go with this one. We want to make a difference in the world. I was in the military. Happy Veterans Day, all you veterans. I was one of those. Changed the world in that industry. Then I moved into the music, and then we found faith, and that's where we met you, is through our church backgrounds. And we wanted to make a difference in the world, and we thought ethical economics and community building, create cheers, and do that with coffee. And so we started that world because of being a world changer, wanting to, I don't know, we thought it was going to be easier. And so we said, oh, that's cool. We could do that. And we're pretty smart people. We don't have a rich relative or rich uncles or anybody rich in our background. So starting a business when you have no money is very hard. I don't know if you've known that.
Yes.
And so we would ask people for advice. We then, someone at one of the churches said, hey, talk to that guy Perry. And we're like, cool, we'll talk to him. I don't know who he is. We didn't know you were a big deal until later, actually. But then started that business. And just so you know, if you guys are listening, if you want to start a coffee shop, do anything else but that. Do something else, because it's not the most financially stable company.
So what was it like to run a coffee shop, to start and run a coffee shop without rich relatives?
Oh, Amanda, you can go with this one, but it was hard.
Yeah.
Thank God I have a smart wife.
Yeah, we started with bootstrapping. So I'd literally take an empty suitcase on the train, the subway in Chicago, and pick up roasted coffee from a coffee roaster on the Northwest side and bring it down into the South Loop where our future coffee shop was going to be, and deliver it to people's homes. And we'd reinvest those profits, and partnered with people, figured out how to make it work. And there were lots of things that we learned from Perry along the way that really helped us. It was really cool that when we actually opened the business, we had lots of customers already, because they were all the people that had been buying our beans, and we kind of, not just reinvesting the profits, but building that community and that network and people that were raving fans. And then we slowly figured out other ways to, like, when we would interview, we would audition rather than interview. Actually, during like a person applying for the job, we'd have them actually wash dishes, and we'd pay them $10 at the end because they actually helped, right? And that showed us, could they follow directions and actually know how to use a 3-section sink and all the things that you need to know.
You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to wash dishes.
Even when you just told them how to do it. Yeah. And also, like, we didn't sell espresso machines, but we did have a high ticket offer that people would buy, especially during the winter months, that would help us get through those times. So I think it could have been a lot harder than it was had we not learned a lot of those little things over that beer on the rooftop, and implemented as we went. But when we got through, to about 2016, we realized, hey, if we're ever going to actually live well, not just barely scrape by with ramen and roommates, right? If we ever want to live on our own, save for retirement, this isn't going to cut it. We're going to have to do something else. And we started exploring what that would look like. And that's what actually brought us back into Perryland again.
So just before you get off of coffee, what were you naive about when you opened a coffee shop?
Oh, all the things. Yeah. How hard it's going to be. The amount of, I think after 6 years of doing this, I didn't realize that Uncle Sam and credit card companies would be part of my staff, but they never show up to work. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these people, seriously, this is horrible. Like, they never are at work ever. And I keep writing them checks. And so that was one of those things. And I think we learned a lot about that bank on yourself concept during that helped us get through the flood, and using that bucket to help us overcome things. And then also the profit first system, those things helped us to ultimately sell and not close the business. And I think it was kind of like our entrepreneurship, not boot camp. I mean, I was in the Marine Corps, so I already knew what tough was. But this was kind of like Green Beret or something of entrepreneurship.
So to translate what you just said into like MBA speak, we learned the power of liquidity, right? Like how important it was to have the cash to get through the ups and downs of the business cycles. We thought, right, like going in, we could just sell coffee all the time. Well, it turns out winter really sucks for selling coffee. You wouldn't think so, right? And that there could be unforeseen circumstances like a polar vortex that made it negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit in Chicago for months at a time. No one was leaving their house, let alone buying coffee. We needed liquidity to get through that, right? And we realized without that liquidity, just how on the edge of bankruptcy we really were.
So what did you do right in that business?
Yeah. So a couple years in, we started working with a financial planner. His name's Mark. And he opened our eyes to a whole new world of money and how money works, and that you can't just shove money into retirement accounts. You need liquidity, right? And things like that. And that's really what helped us get through those ups and downs. We would have never been able to do that. We would have been filing bankruptcy. But because of liquidity, we actually were able to show we had a good business that could pay us, and even build some reserves to get through those ups and downs, and ultimately what helped us sell it.
And
Yeah. I was just going to add, there's three things I think is know that that you're called to something. As a business owner, no, because it's going to be hard. People think it's going to be easy. Right. And so the other one is have a team around you that care about you. You were part of our team for a bit, like learning and off and on. And then and various friends and other people that had helped us start, like even from the Marty Ozinga, which is the Ozinga Concrete, they helped us get started and they helped build the South Side, right? Those people. And then know your numbers. Most people don't, they go into business and they don't know their numbers, whether it's cash flow numbers, marketing numbers, metrics for all kinds of things. But if you don't have one, know that you are called to it. Know that you have a team that care about not just what you're doing, but you, and knowing your numbers. Those three things is what I learned and take into this business.
So then you sold that and you went into financial advisory. So you must have been so impressed with what you learned from Mark that you felt like you were in the wrong business.
Yes, in so many words. So we actually found out that we were expecting a little guy.
Oh.
And we realized we couldn't run this business and raise our little guy the way we wanted to. And we started exploring like what would need to shift, right? Do we need to hire a manager? Do we need to sell? Do we need to start multiple locations? Like, what do we do? And we ended up arranging to sell that business. And of course, by then, we've been a decade of business owners. We're totally unemployable. And I'm also obviously pregnant. So no one's going to hire us, at least in our minds. So I actually told Brandon, like, you got to figure this out. I'm going to be a mom for a little while, right? Like, no one's going to hire me anyway. Go figure this out. So he applied.
She told me to go get a job. And
Basically.
I was like, there's no way I can't do a job. I can't do that. So,
yeah.
So he applied to actually work for Mark, our financial professional, because Mark was hiring at the time. And I was like, you could do sales. Isn't just financial stuff. Isn't that just sales? You could do that. You love talking to people. And he applied and Mark was like, no, you're too entrepreneurial. There's no way you could ever work in finance. You have to stay in the box, right? There is a box. If you go outside of it, you can get into really big trouble. You cannot exercise your entrepreneurialness in this industry. Yeah. So there was a polite thanks, but no thanks. And then thankfully, about a month or so later, Mark's wife, Katrina, who's kind of the COO in their business, she had the brilliant idea to be like, Amanda's a little bit more of a rule follower. What if Brandon and Amanda did this together? And then rather than being part of our team, we actually just mentor and teach them, but they have their own business. So if they screw up, it's on them and we're not liable for their screw ups. And so we're like, we've got nothing better. Let's do this. It changed our life. That's why we got into coffee in the first place. Of all the things we could have done to build community and celebrate ethical economics, we love coffee. We still love locally roasted, ethically sourced coffee. So we're like, let's share that financial knowledge and stuff with others. And it was kind of just a simple, like, why not? Yes, let's do it. And it wasn't until like a few months later, after we kind of got into things, we're like, there's that 10,000 hour principle. Like you have to do something for so long to prove mastery and be beyond apprentice level. We're going to give this 10 years. And we're like, we feel like we could do this for at least 10 years before we judge whether it's for us or not for us. And that was 2018. Still doing it. And at this point, we're like, we could do this 30 years.
Okay. Thanks for joining us for part 1 of this conversation. As you heard today, our journey from coffee shop owners to financial professionals wasn't linear or glamorous, but every challenge along the way shaped us into how we would serve business owners today. In part 2, we're going to talk more about our financial philosophy, what we believe is broken in the traditional planning world, and how we've used tools like Profit First and Bank on Yourself and AI to reinvent the way entrepreneurs build and business owners build wealth. You're not going to want to miss this. Be sure you hit subscribe. Don't miss that episode. It's going to drop right in your feed a week from now. And if you'd like to experience more, some of the tools that we started talking about in today's episode, we're going to have some links in the show notes to the Find Your Flow quiz. If you'd like to take that 10-question assessment, the financial nervous system diagnostic, which is our 54-question deeper dive. We're also going to put a link to learn more about the Perry Marshall Roundtable if you'd like to check that out and see if it fits into your plans for 2026. And finally, one more link to the Profit Planning Network, which is where we share more and more and walk alongside business owners to not repeat the same mistakes that we did and to make sure that they're profitable and they're building wealth no matter what happens along all the ups and downs of their own journey. So check out all those links in the show note. And until next time, I hope that you live long and profit.